Again, welcome. My name is Lena Helen, and I am a neighbor of East Kensington. I'm a homeowner, lived here for 8 years. I'm a founding member of the Kensington Community Food Co-op, and I'm currently serving as your president. Welcome, and welcome again to the Kensington Community Food Co-op site announcement party. This moment is precious. It is one that you have all been patiently waiting for, and it's one that we have worked very hard to get. So it is clear that investing in our community and our neighborhood is valued by each and every one of you in this room. For this reason, I want to begin by acknowledging those who care enough to invest in this community years before the idea of a food co-op was ever around. Under our feet, PBC opened the brewery and saved this beautiful historic building. NKCDC renovated an old factory, which is now the Coral Streets Arts House, and spent 20 years helping so many people. PFCU just opened and renovated the old police station. Small businesses helped maintain and grow our local community, in our local economy, and they were started by many brave entrepreneurs that are in this room today. Our neighborhood association has kept our neighborhoods clean, safe, and fun. Our churches give in ways that often go unseen but are felt by many in our community deeply. Our organizations who plant trees, our organizations that grow food, our educators who teach our children, our firefighters who give their lives, and our police who protect us. These folks and many more loosened the soil for our co-op to take root in this place we call Kensington, Fishtown, Port Richmond, our home. When I first arrived at East Kensington, I was struck by the willingness of people to talk to me, really just about anything. We got here and it's like, they'll just tell you anything. And it turns out that that's actually a real asset of urban living, and it's really an asset of our community. This impressed me, but I was also struck by the poverty, the lack of resources, the decay. And I asked, what can I do? What can we do to fix this mess? Will our efforts even make a difference? We are not starry-eyed people. We know the hazards, we see the corruption, we see the decay, and we are all affected. So after 6 years of building our co-op, I don't have a sweeping answer to these postmodern, post-industrial existential questions, but I can affirm with you today that without a doubt, we are part of the solution. Cooperatives build community, cooperatives build democracy, cooperatives ensure local ownership, food cooperatives build healthy food systems, and the profits go back to your pockets and they stay in the community. So, together, we will make this hard-earned dream into the store we have all been working for and believe in. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Awesome. Thanks for living here. So, my name is Jeff. My name is Jeff Carpinetto. I'm one of the board members of the co-op, and many moons ago, Lena came to me with an idea and said, what do you think about a food co-op in this neighborhood? And I was like, wow, that's a big one, but that would be a game changer here. I said, what do you think about me getting involved in the Civic Association? She said, go for it. So we encouraged each other, and a lot of awesome work has happened since then. So my role in the co-op in the last couple years has been specifically leading the search for the site. When we hit the 200, 225 member mark, we got word from the consultant community, the co-op community around the region and the nation, and that was a wise time to begin to scout the neighborhood to see what all the options were. So at that time, we were still a little unclear on the vision in terms of what kind of space was really the best fit. And we were looking at like smaller buildings, something like Frankfurt Avenue around Pizza Brain and Little Babies maybe were options, small storefront scenarios. But it really started to dawn upon the project that if you want to have a full-on grocery store where a community that has thousands of people can come to and shop on a regular basis and do their big shop when they want to, you can't really have a store that fits 8 or 10 or 12 people. You need a store that has many departments and can fit a whole lot of your neighbors at one time without long lines and without being frustrated. Well, I wish that I could get this today, but that's not here. Now I have to go make a trip somewhere else. So size was a big part of the mission. And we wound up really targeting buildings that were 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 square foot, which is very rare for this neighborhood. That helped us cull down the list. We began with a list of about 50 different sites, actually. And that included not just like what was on the market, but a lot of PI work and street scouting and door knocking and talking to people and driving to Ben Sound and leaving letters in people's doors saying, like, do you know who owns that building? There's a community group with a great idea and a lot of heart. Could you be in touch with us? So we followed up on a lot of these scouting leads, and eventually we narrowed the list down to a few places that made the most sense. We had a market study performed, and we got a very generous grant from the Reinvestment Fund, part of a $25,000 grant to study a few different sites within the neighborhood to see what was truly the best for us in terms of sales and location. Other big criteria in the mission was that it was like had good traffic, publicly visible, on a main corridor if possible, that the zoning wouldn't be a headache. We were coached that if we didn't have, even though we heart the folks that are on foot and on bike and scooter, that if there wasn't parking or good ease in getting in and out, people, when they wanted to do their big shop of 3, 4, 5 bags, they're going to go somewhere else, as they already do. They go to ShopRite, they go to Trader Joe's, Whole Foods. Something else that was important is we didn't really have the capital to buy a building, so we were looking for a place that we could lease, but ownership is important to the co-op, that kind of autonomy. So to find a place that we could lease, but that there would be an option to purchase through the years as the co-op generates capital and revenue, that was huge. And the most important thing is that in the real estate landscape up here, which is a little nuts and is speculative largely, and ever increasing in price, that we could find an owner or a partner or an investor, however you want to talk about it, that could put a deal together with us who had heart for the project and who understood what we were doing in a deep way, bigger than numbers. And we hoped for that. And we got lucky. So we wound up with a space that's really special in a lot of ways, and you're going to hear about those ways in a few minutes. But it's really the honor of the president who's stuck it out here for 6 years, probably a little bit more than that, to spill the beans on where is this place.
All right, so before I do that, I do want to just say a few words in honor of Jeff and this particular site. As he was, there were many sites that we were looking at, and actually some that we thought we were going to be going towards, and when this became really clear, it was a crazy things were happening around this site. And really Jeff came around and he really saved the day, and it was really because of his heart and his ability to be able to reach out to people and just, you know, bring them in and go, hey, this would be great if you got involved with this, and it's just amazing. And it really, I really doubt that we would be here today if it wasn't for your work, Jeff. So thank you.
Thank you. do.
Yeah. Okay. All right, so should I just go and say it?
Is it time? How about guesses?
No.
Can we
Stop. Okay, so the site is the old O'Reilly's Bar.
Who knew? I want to know who knew. Who was loose-lipped? Come on back. All right. So, I really have to thank the 20 people that have known this for 10 months and have taken that confidentiality seriously. And we had a lot of like eye-to-eye moments about that confidentiality, and the thing that really, the thing that bound that confidentiality was saying to people that we have 400 owners that deserve to not hear it as whispered down the alley at Atlantis Bar or somewhere else, okay? You're the owners of this.
It wouldn't have been whispered.
And you deserve to learn today, or as many as possible. So I'm going to give you some bullet points on how we came to get this building and some basics on this building. And then I'm going to call up Dave Cardrini, a local architect, who actually made this beautiful drawing. And I'll flip through some of the slides. That's how it looks today. And big parking lot facility there.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. So it's a little deceiving from the outside when you go by, but it's actually 4,200 feet. It's a big space. It was the original corner bar building, but the owner, 2 owners ago, did a gigantic construction project and created this whole dining room annex on the building. That's a historical photo there from the city. That's how it looks today. This whole portion of the building there, that red brick, we call that like the annex. That was the dining room expansion.
It's actually from that.
And it's a good.
No,
What's that?
That, yeah.
Oh, okay. Fine. And the old owner, a couple owners ago, was able to secure ownership of all those vacant parcels and actually created a paved parking lot there. Behind the parking lot, there's a huge green space. It's about 15 feet deep and 80 feet long for thinking about a garden space. And there's a huge rooftop for future visions. It's fine as far as its zoning. And one of the most awesome, it's super visible. There's about 30 on-street parking spaces all around on Lehigh. And one of the coolest things about it is that we got the building with the liquor license permitting. It's a restaurant license. So what does that mean? That means you could come there, you can have a beer out on the patio or inside this brew cafe concept that we're incubating. Also, you can get craft beer to go. It means that we'll be able to do more interesting fundraisers and not have to be like hiding on the down low in terms of the brewery has a keg there for us. It's a special space in a ton of ways. The green, the parking, the square footage, the liquor license, and the story, the cliff notes on how we got this building is that the site search committee had really narrowed it down, and there was no real option on the desk that was glowing, even though we had looked at dozens. And this place here was on the market for sale at a very high price, around $700,000. And we had just never really considered it because the price was really high, and it appeared to us that somebody was going to go in there and do a bar. And then one day we said, well, how about that place on the corner? And we started to look into it. We started discussing with the old owner, who actually was like, we were beginning a deal with him, but the questions, the unanswered questions were adding up. Like, you know, how can you tell us about your loan with the bank? And the building was broken into and was almost completely vandalized on the inside. All the pipes, the wires, the sheetrock, the drop ceiling, everything was torn apart. And it was really heartbreaking, actually, because we believed that it was the right place for us. So myself and other board members, it got to the point where we were babysitting the building through the night after night, last summer and August, trying to catch the people who were breaking into the building and destroying the building and filing police reports and sending text messages to the owner in the middle of the night, like, hey, what's going on? Like, how come that door's not locked? You need to seal this window. And it just got worse and worse. And it was like that moment where you just think that, like, all is lost. Like, you know that this is it, but it seems like the odds are just completely stacked against you. But we said, let's persevere. The team had a good sense that it was right. And so that conversation with the owner went radio silent. There was like no answers to any of the questions that were piling up. The building was continuing to be broken into. And then I got a phone call from his agent who said, Jeff, haven't talked to you in a while. I'm not sure what's going on, but I'm letting you know the bank foreclosed on the building this morning at 10 o'clock. And it's going out on the market at the end of the day today at around half price. Wow. I really like you guys. I know what your idea is. I think it's great what you're doing, so I want to give you first shot. Get to work. So we had several special board meetings. We talked to everybody we knew, all the angels who were around. And it looked like we didn't have anybody with that kind of resource. And we had like one more discussion with a fellow named Mike Wade, who's done a lot of work with people in this community for title work for a lot of the home buyers in the neighborhood. He had roots in the neighborhood. He says, wow, he says, tell me more about that. Let's go down, let's take a look at it. Him and his wife Sue got excited, and we were able to put a deal together. And it took 9 months for it to close, and we finally closed on a building recently. And the biggest wish in the whole mission was to try to find an owner that cared about the project enough that they would understand that it would take time for us to build membership, time for us to get capital, time for us to iron out details, to build a store, stock a store, staff a store. But if they were into it, there would be a sense of partnership, and they would hang with us to see this through. And we found that. And we couldn't have been luckier. So,
yeah, bravo.
Mike and Sue, we would love if you'd come up and say a few words.
member vote, should we do growlers?
I had the pleasure of meeting Mike and Sue sort of early in the negotiations, and we all trekked up to Berks County and Bucks County. And I was first just struck by just how they felt just like people to me. Just like, oh, okay. And then they started talking about how they actually that Sue grew up here in the neighborhood, and that her mom, well, I'll let you tell the story, but it was like they had roots here. And I'm like, this is great. And I knew that this was going to be an amazing partnership. So thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. We're very excited to be a part of this. As she said, we have roots here. Sue and I were married at St. Albert's 20 years ago, next month actually.
Our Lady of Port Richmond.
Yeah, Our Lady of Port Richmond now. But my dad's from K&A. My whole family's from the area. I'm from Northeast Philadelphia. Sue's from Port Richmond. Proud of it. She's proud of her roots. Her one uncle still lives down in Frankfurt and Dalton.
Right next to Little Baby.
Yeah, next to Little Baby there. So the roots are strong, and actually, you know, it's amazing how things come full circle because, as I said before, Sue, my friend, partner. Wow. We've had a lot of, things over the years. She's always been behind me, and we're members of the co-op as well. And to see you guys go at it, it's an inspiration. So it's really nice. So.
Thank you.
Going to try not to cry.
It's all right, let it out, let it out.
I'm very excited about this project. All of my great-grandparents have been from the area, Kensington, Fishtown, and Port Richmond. I actually was born and was raised in Fishtown until I was 5, then Port Richmond, then my parents divorced and back to Fishtown, but we're all still happy together even though my parents were in different houses. I have a lot of happy family memories here in Fishtown and Port Richmond. And when I was out of college, I couldn't wait to get out. I couldn't wait to get away. Things changed so much. My friends were leaving, and it was very upsetting to me to see what was happening in all these areas. And my family left. A lot of my family, I still have family here that live here in Fishtown, but it was sad what was happening. The wonderful thing about the food co-op, and a lot of things that are happening around, is that I think it will bring people back, and you'll have a happy place to meet and a healthy place to eat, and buy your food and get together and be in a protected, happy, family-friendly atmosphere. So I've had also some bad memories when I grew up in Fishtown, and seeing all your faces here and knowing that you're the people that are living here, that are going to the co-op is wonderful, and it gives me such a warm feeling, and it makes me want to think maybe my son should come back and live here when he's out of college. And I can't wait to leave. Maybe he should come back, and we'll come back and visit, but I'm liking my trees right now. So. But we are members of the food co-op, and we do believe in everything, and we will help out whatever way we can. And I expect it to be a great success, because I would like to get the dividend check if we
One more thing about how things go full circle. My one grandmother on my mom's side who died in 2006, she was 105 years old when she died. She worked at this very place when it was Place Road in Hess. It's funny how they're coming back now, and it's full circle. So, so good luck, everybody.
And Dave Quadrini. Yeah. Tell us a little bit more about the building. You want to put the layout on?
Hi everybody, I'm Dave Quadrini. I'm a member of the co-op. I live in Fishtown. I've got a hat for lots of different organizations and things. But all the stuff that Jeff and Lena have been talking about, this is a long time coming, and all sorts of ideas have been floating around. So what myself and my firm were able to do for the co-op, I'll sit on all those meetings with Jeff for the last 10 months keeping this building a secret. But one of the things we were able to help out doing was can we get this idea, this vision to fit? And what is that vision? And how do we put it on the paper so we can keep moving forward and actually make something happen here at this site? Is this site a good site? Is it a great site? Who knows? So just some really wonderful things to talk about this site. I know Jeff hit on real quick, but I'll try and be really brief. What happens with a lot of buildings here in Philadelphia is, one, they're falling down. This building was actually in solid shape for the most part. It's nice to walk through and not have to worry about your life and safety. But secondly, it's big. It's actually a really big site on one lot. And what's even more amazing is that it's accessible from all sides. It has Lehigh on one, Coral and Frankfurt on the other, as well as the parking lot. And so often we're stuck with buildings here in the city that really you can access them from the front and the back, but really with the retail location, it's all through the front. Your garbage, your people, everything. But we have so much room to work with on this site. It's very rare, it's very unique. So from a building committee perspective and an architectural perspective, this is a great, fun opportunity. It offers a lot for the co-op. So some of the things we were able to kind of play around with too, and just more or less raise lots of questions on what's going to happen here, what are we going to do? The parking is always the obvious big thing. We can't touch, we can't do anything with it. But we have a big playground, if you want to conceive of it in that way. So future plans for what happens in the parking lot, maybe it's Oktoberfest, maybe it's a plant sale. Who knows, the sky's the limit for the co-op, but you can program that open parking space any way you want. And that's what becomes really, really exciting about it. Also, what Jeff was talking about, there's a whole lot of green space down here that's elevated, and there's a real opportunity here. You have to leave it open as far as the city's concerned, but you can do whatever you want with that open space. And one of the things we're just kind of hinting at in the rendering, we have sunflowers and we have beehives and we all have kinds of crazy stuff. But the real mission is that as members, we can define that space in day one, and we can define it something differently in year 10 or 20. It doesn't make a difference because it's our space to do what we want with it. What's also really rare about this project is the cafe component, which has the liquor license. I don't know of any co-ops in the area or the state or the region that have that liquor license. And the opportunity with that, we were able to identify, is that that cafe is an extension of the co-op. It sells food, it sells things, it can make the co-op money, but it's an extension of the bigger picture, which is the community. It's a place to gather, it's a place to come and hang out and drink your coffee in the morning. You can sit out in the sun, you can socialize, have a little group meeting. It's just a space that you can gather that's not kind of bogged down by retail shelving. So you can imagine, we have a great Coral Street, this is going north, Lehigh up here. We kind of located the cafe in this corner. It's that connector between all the little things going on. So you can imagine there's going to be a great cafe, lots of window, big overhead door, opening up to some outdoor seating. So we have stuff that fits the community agenda as well as stuff that fits the retail agenda. And we have a large retail space that does a lot of what we need to do, surprisingly. And there's also a basement in there too. So we have, surprisingly, a lot of space in this building. One thing that hasn't quite popped up as part of the overall conversation, you did see the 3-story component. There are apartments above this, but that's a conversation for another day. We're talking about the retail. So this is a big building and a big site. Really, I'm excited to be working on this. I've been excited working as a resident and a person who's going to be patronizing this place quite often. When we stumbled upon this site as a committee member, it was exciting that we could actually latch onto it because of its size, its accessibility and things like that. But as an architect, I'm actually really proud that the co-op has this building. It has so much to offer. The character's a little funky, which always makes for a fun and interesting project. But it's all on one floor, one big open retail space. We don't have multiple floors. We have to go up and down stairs to buy produce or something silly like that. It's all one big space, one big floor, accessible to the community on all sides. And that really kind of fits into the overall mission of the co-op. So I'm going to leave it at that and let these guys do the rest of the show.
That's something I should have mentioned when I was telling you what the marching orders were for the planning committee, all that stuff about zoning and square footage. A real oversight I should have said is that we'd be really lucky if we could get a space that fit all that criteria, but also was a bridge between communities, right? And so this place here is really right at the nexus of, like, you know, Port Richmond, more traditional Port Richmond, area in transition north of Lehigh, up around Somerset, the Fishtown neighborhood, East Kensington, and we're hearing reports from the folks in Northern Liberties that they feel embraced too, because they know they'll be able to get in and get out easier. That's probably one of the most powerful things spiritually about the co-op, is that it could be, is that this space, it could be a uniter of the different people. We don't just want to be like a successful grocery store. We want to be like, you know, we want to create a round table where people get to know each other. Norman is here from Weaver's Way. I won't even say how many decades Norman has been kicking it in his work at Weaver's Way. Where are you, Norman? Where's the man at? Yeah. So, Norm, come on up and just like tell us a couple things about your roots, your background in the co-op world. Norm is like really a force at Weaver's Way for a long time to help make that the huge success that it is. And Weaver's, though they're not an actual on-paper business partner with your co-op, they've been coaching us and guiding us the entire time. We would not be here today without you and Dave and Chris and everybody. Thanks for that.
I didn't prepare anything. This is purely off the cuff, which means it'll be very brief. So I've been in co-ops. I think I got involved with co-op at Temple University in 1974. I grew up in Mount Airy, got involved in Weaver's Way actually around 74. I think I got involved with Temple in 72. Anyway, there is a principle that co-ops subscribe to called Principle 6, which is cooperation among co-ops. And so that's one of the reasons Weaver's Way is like happy to see other co-ops forming. Not just Kensington, but in South Philly, there was a group in Ambler, Doylestown just opened a store. And then the other existing co-ops in the area, Swarthmore, Mariposa, Creekside, all want to see more co-ops and are all willing to pitch in with technical help and whatever resources we have. So that's one thing. The other thing is, I mean, to see a co-op just pop up from grassroots, like that's amazing. Like that's what happened in Mount Airy, and to see that happening here is really, really amazing.
We're doing it. Thank you. So, Lena and Colleen, come on. We're gonna, I think it's thank you time. Oh, yeah. Well, at the end, I will.
Hi, everyone.
Hi. Who are you?
My name is Colleen Watts. I'm the current secretary of the board, and I'm so pumped to be here with you today. We're going to take 4 minutes and thank a whole bunch of people, because the man and woman power, sorry, it makes me feel really emotional, is nothing short of amazing on this project. And we wouldn't be here today without it. People who have made the marketplace a reality and a growing success, past board members, those who drive our membership efforts and spread our message, all-around moral support from other co-ops, other organizations, our shop local partners, thinking, cheerleading. Spouses and partners who allow us to take this time to work on this project. It's really awesome. So we're just going to shout it out. Lots of names, not an exhaustive list. Leah Fenimore and Steve Tobin. Mike Holland deserves a special shout out. I don't even know if he's here today. He's been working spreadsheets on the Buyers Club and Marketplace for about 5 years. Holly Logan, Angie Rohasek, and Martin Reams, Sarah Dobbs, Stephen Way, Phil Beardsley, Mariko and Dan Snook, Misty Kaufman, she's my sister, sorry. Anders Morholt, Katie Jordan, Tarynton Laner, Colleen and Rick Ward, Jenny Drosdick, Kelly and Eric Peters, Lindsay Stokey, Jeff McKay, Amber Johnson, and Amy Miller, and the list is continuing.
I'm going to start out with my husband, Paul Futbowski. You sit up. He's been up with me for the last 6 years. So Alex Osa, Dan Arbor, Ryan and Sharon Towsawak, Mary Freihoffner, John Kolzecki, Emily Van Eugen and Michael Durr, Matt Steele, Marta Bartholomew, Danilo and Bree Gotto, Peter Frank and Emily Grover, Mo Mullane, Catherine Oniski and Scott Parsons, Jackie Cusack, Claire Dyke, Dan Wegeman, Greg Steele, Nicole Haynes, Abby Bronstein, Zach Starr and Krista Peelstar, Nick and Elisa Esposito, Jen Corbin, Jen Brown, Stephanie Bartusis, Erin Kelly, Lee Stroud and Kristen Lacey, Meg Lemur, Susie Hurley, sorry if I'm getting these wrong, Hurley, Mike Cunningham, Amaryllis Rivera, Dawn Ann Bryant, Jason Blake, Jesse Gardner, Erin Fitzgerald.
Joe Rosado, Josh Cullen, Robin Mello, August Navarro, Kate Antoinette, Ken Mudd, Reed Davis McGowan, Henry Pyatt, Andy Barrera, Anje Van Berklar, Lori McCall, Michael Morrissey, Bernie, Genevieve Greer, Dave Quadrini and Jenny Yip, Tasha Dorimus, John Theobald, Daniela D'Ambrosio and Todd Braley from Pickled Heron, Chad Ludeman from Post Green, Lauren Eisenberg, and of course, all the Marketplace customers.
So my thank yous are to the Reinvestment Fund, who actually gave us the $25,000 to do the market study and the site survey and all these important documents that we needed in order to go forward with signing the lease. It's a lease with option of purchase, to be technical. The Quaker community at the Art Street Friends, who gave us a grant for a couple $1,000s recently to help us subsidize memberships for people in the neighborhood that needed that, to get them on board. The East Kensington Neighbors Association, you've been a bright and inspiring home base for the co-op. The people at the Emerald Sea Urban Farm, Lancaster Farm Fresh Growers Cooperative, Josh and Martha Grace, the pastors, the leadership of the Circle of Hope, all the people at Circle of Hope that really put their energy into this project to help build membership, gave us a space for our marketplace, gave us a space for meetings, gave us a space for different kinds of rallies and campaigns and fundraisers, people at the Soup Kitchen, Condom Market, Mary and all the people at Greensgrove, the kids at Fireball Printing that did printing for us, and a whole lot of other stuff through the years. Leota's Place that came to fundraisers of ours. Of course, Bill and Nancy, the generous owners of this brewery. People that are sort of the biggie hitters in the co-op world, the Food Co-op Initiative, the CDS Consulting people that did our reports and our business planning, Philadelphia Area Cooperative Alliance and the Mid-Atlantic Food Cooperative Alliance, South Philly Co-op people who have been right side by side with us as they've been planning their project, sharing all the wisdom that they have, and we've been giving it back and forth. They just hit the 600 member mark, by the way, last week. So we need to come out of this gathering today at the 600 mark, letting you know. There's too many shop local partners to list, but what does that mean, shop local? It means if you're a member of the co-op, there's this 30 or 40 other businesses in the community here and some across the city that you get a discount by going to them because you're a member of us. It's the highest form of local economy and caring to support each other. Your membership would probably pay for itself in the course of a year or two. Lynn Westcott, I don't know whether you're here, but attorney Lynn Westcott from down on Kamek Street gave almost 10 hours of her time reviewing our lease and getting into crazy nerdy detail for this 15-page custom authored document that would be, you know, something that's it's like at stone. It's the foundation. You go back to that lease over and over again through the 10 years. We have a 10-year lease with a 10-year option to renew, which is very generous. Lynn Westcott did all that work pro bono, saving us thousands of dollars. Leah Pillsbury and David Wu and Bob Noble and Norm and Bull, all the people from Weaver's Way and Mariposa and Swarthmore and Brattleboro and Park Slope and Bushwick and People's Co-op and all those people that have been giving us advice through the years. And there were some other key operators that came in some tough moments when we were trying to make this deal happen for this building. Like there was one time where we were going to have possible investors come to check out the space and to see if they could give some support to the project. But it was driving rain just like it was the other day, and there was like trash all over the site. And like there's not many people in the world that would show up at your door for something else, like to pick up an extension cord or something, but they say, hey, what's up? And when you tell them that moment, they're like, that's okay, I'll go over there right now and deal with that. Richard Zerlnick, where are you? Is he here? Anyway, so, awesome. Yeah, Richard went out there in the driving rain with me and cleaned up all the nasty stuff. and all the architects and inspectors and engineers that came there to help us give us the peace of mind that this building was sound and was, fit, and all of that work came to us pro bono, and all of it mostly in the snow and sleet in one of the toughest winters we ever had. But they got it done. Seriously, thank all of you. And there's so many people here who never know this thing. Oh my God, my cousin has come to see me. So there's two people that deserve a big thank you, bigger than any maybe. Peter Frank, who's a neighbor on York Street, and I'm lucky to have him as a friend, came on board the project several years ago and put in maybe 3 or 4 years at the board leadership level as a vice president, and led our planning committee in the initial phase. And has gotten really deep into the co-op world and knows the names and knows how things work and is a big advocate for us out there. This deal for this building was going on the days right before and the day of and the days right following the birth of him and Emily's first child, Arthur. But he didn't miss a beat. He went to meetings, he was writing reports, he was looking at spreadsheets. Peter, where are you? Yeah, you're awesome. And to Emily, his wife, for every hour that you lent him out for being the vice president of the most kick-ass civic association. And the biggest thank you, we're at a point in the project where there's some founding members that are still board members, and people that have been carrying the ball all this way. And building new leadership, grooming new leadership, inviting in new board leadership is a healthy part of the process. Lena has served longer than anybody would have expected and has soldiered through this journey. And I just, it's like the number of hours. Somebody could have put those thousands of hours into building a business or meditating or doing yoga or reaching supreme health or traveling the world. And it's a special people like our board members that say, I'm going to give this much time to something that's going to be a game changer in the neighborhood. And later there will be very little press, decades from now, and there won't be plaques and monuments, and nobody's probably going to make some super awesome film. But the work got done that needed to get done in the neighborhood. And she did that. She led that. It was her idea, and she hung in there. And thank you to Lena for that.
But I'm ready to party. Okay, one more announcement. Let's just do this thing. Okay?
Yeah, let's get it done. Awesome. So, there's so many people here today that maybe are just learning about the project, or maybe you're not a member, or maybe your neighbor or friend isn't a member. I want to make sure that you leave here knowing some really no-brainer stuff about the co-op. Like, to get the money that we need to build this store in this space, we got to hit up around the 800, 850 member mark. It would be great if we could get to 1,000. We're at 415, I think, right now. So if you're here today and you're not a member, get on board. We need you. We heard for years. Tell us where the store is at. I'll join when I know where the store is going to be at. Now you know. The second thing is that we've recently created some new ways to invest in the co-op to do your membership. Okay? It's $200 for your lifetime membership, but you can do dribs and drabs. You can do $40 over 5 months. You can do $20 over 10 months, or you can do $10 over 20 months. And if for somebody that, like yourself, or you know somebody that's on like WIC or SNAP or public assistance, we want to make sure that we engage all those people too. So make sure they come to us, because we're going to put into place a new program to make sure that they're in for even less money over time. All right? We're at the, important stuff. You can sign up through the website. Today, people are going to take membership on computer. We also have printed applications. Make sure that we don't leave without your information and your commitment. It's starting to sound like an NPR thing again. But without your commitment, because we need you to do this. If we can't get that number up and we don't have all the buy-in, we can't do it. But how awesome is it? Lately, we've been going to the banks, and they said, well, how many members do you have? We said, okay, we just crossed the 400 mark. And that's starting to feel like good, like we got some weight. But when we can go to the banks and say, we got 800, 900, we got 1,000, we got money in the bank for seed money, that's it. We got this. But without that, we're going to stumble. Let's get it done sooner than later. So thanks for being here. You are the people that care about this neighborhood. You're not waiting for some other day to open some great grocery store, or to rebuild this neighborhood, or to make an awesome park, or to fight for the garden, or to make it clear to the families of those guys that died over on York Street, those firefighters, to make it clear to them that this neighborhood cares, that we're rebuilding, and it's an awesome neighborhood with a lot of crime and a lot of good stuff going on, and anybody should want to come and live here. It's for them. And it's for all of you. So let's get it done. Let's party.
Thank you. Thank you.